Hi, I'm Father Anthony Hannon from Enviam Patches, and this is To Prepare His Way. The topic of this video is positive atheist or negative atheist. And this topic comes as a direct result of the thoughtful comments that I received, the intelligent comments, not all of them, but most of them were pretty good. The intelligent comments that I received from the last video, which was entitled, To Be an Atheist is to Be Against Science. And what some of these commenters were saying was that I was missing something. And that's not really the way they see themselves. So some of them were saying they are atheists. So I think all of the commentators said they were atheists. And hey, those who believe in God, why don't you comment a little bit to give me a little bit of encouragement here? Anyway, they were very, very good. And they said that that's not the way they see themselves. It's not the way they don't believe in God, but they don't assert that there is no God. And that prompted me to look into it a little bit more deeply. And so I searched atheist definition, and I came across, the standard, Merriam, Oxford, that type of thing. But then I came across the Urban Dictionary, urbandictionary.com. And I find that's an interesting site for definitions because it's people posting from the internet their understanding of the use of the meaning of words. Why is this important? Because the meanings of words do change over time. This is just a natural thing. Yes, we could look in a standard dictionary, and a dictionary that I would quote as a footnote, like Oxford, and if I was doing a formal paper or something like that. I wouldn't quote the Urban Dictionary unless it was the context of the paper. Trying to, anyway, but the words do change. The meanings of words change based on how people use them. It's a natural process. This is, anyone who's studied linguistics knows this. It's a very basic thing. That's not to say that definitions of words or new words should be mandated. I'm very much on board with Jordan Peterson on that. That's crazy. Anyhow, we have this, when I go to Urban Dictionary, I have this definition posted by someone that just identifies themselves as anonymous. And this person says there are two in-use definitions of the word atheist. I'm not going to read all of what this person, anonymous, said, because I don't want to explain it to you first. When I said an atheist asserts that there is no God, that would be called a positive atheist. Someone who, positively asserts that no God or no gods exist. Those who were commenting on the last video were saying that's not how they see it. They would never say that. I think one even said that he finds it annoying or find those types of atheists, difficult, just as he finds theists who are so certain difficult to speak with. Okay. A negative atheist is just in contrast to that positive. Another way of putting it would be, and this anonymous place puts it in here, as implicit atheists. In other words, they've looked at the evidence, and in this way they are kind of doing science. They're looking at the evidence, whatever it is. It could be their experience, it could be what they read, what they're told, whatever. But the evidence that they've received, they come to the conclusion that there must not be a God. There must not be any gods even. So I hope you can see the distinction. Here's the thing. According to Anonymous, most atheists see themselves as implicit atheists. But most theists, so like me, who believe in God, see atheists or would define an atheist or atheism in the positive way. Why is this important? That's my confirmation bias. My confirmation bias when it comes to atheism, or came to atheism, I'm more enlightened now, I hope, is that they assert that there is no God, which to me is nonsensical. But if I'm going to engage in conversation with an atheist and not just write them off, and generally I don't anyway, I don't write people off. I think I can learn something from everyone, no matter what they believe, or if they don't believe everything that I believe, But in conversation with them, I should realize that they're not. I'm operating of a different definition. Well, similarly, atheists, I think, tend to. I'm now making huge generalizations, but they tend to look at people who believe in God in certain ways as well. So that's their confirmation bias. Let me read a little bit more of an explanation from Anonymous. While neither definition of atheism entails any personality traits of atheists or of those who do believe in a god or gods, sometimes referred to as theists, both atheists and theists tend to believe that certain traits apply to all atheists or all theists. How are we going to learn anything that way? This is so useful, this person. This Anonymous is brilliant. Common myths about atheists include all atheists are arrogant, immoral, rebellious, and or intolerant. All atheists really do believe in the, and here it says the Christian God, but they're simply in denial. All atheists are depressed and believe life is meaningless. Those are some of the myths that someone like me might think of atheists. Common myths about theists, from the atheist perspective, might include that all theists are naive and or intolerant. So both think we're intolerant. That theists don't really believe in their gods, and we just pretend to because we're afraid that if people realize that no God exists, there will be complete chaos. They sometimes might think that all theists are weak and look to their gods for comfort. As a matter of fact, one of the commentators, I think, talked about that as being fantasy, security blanket, I think the person put it as. It hardly needs to be said, Anonymous continues, that while these myths apply to a select few individuals in each group, fair enough, the claim that they apply to every atheist or every theist is false. Negative atheists, or the implicit atheists, justify their lack of belief in God or gods by pointing out that no evidence exists for the existence of God, and justify their lack of disbelief by pointing out that no evidence exists for the non-existence thereof. Positive atheists often assert that while no evidence for God exists, it should be by default assumed that they do not until evidence is found. Some also try to use logic to prove that God does not exist, but this is often attacked by theists, attacked by theists and weak atheists as being mere wordplay. So that's what I'm saying. I kind of attack the positive atheist. Some theists and weak atheists, so that again, that's where are we here? Some theists and most atheists, that is the implicit atheists, also assert that logic is superficial and meaningless, which is an easily refutable claim. Well, that's not my argument. It's the contrary. And that only one's inner feelings can lead them to truth. Well, I don't believe that. But there are Christians, there are Catholics who weigh heavily in on their personal feelings, sometimes call it personal experience of God, for the justification for the belief in God. That's not my position, by the way. I believe that someone can experience God, but that's not really that's a bit of the sandy foundation. It's not a solid foundation. I'll go into that in another video about why I believe. Some feel that because the world is filled with evil and malice, then an all-loving, benevolent God cannot exist. We hear that a lot. Those who are led to their Their stance through this feeling, however, cannot justify their disbelief in a malevolent God in the same way. Some reject the idea of the Christian God because the Bible states that non-Christians are condemned to hell and reject the idea as being too disturbing. Well, the same argument can also be made against the gods of various other religions, including Islam and Zoroastrianism, and cannot be made against every god in Judaism, for example. This person says hell does not exist. Okay, so then he has this little dialogue to try to, sometimes they do that, to kind of use the word in a sentence type of thing. So this person says, do you believe in God? No, I don't. Then you're an atheist. I suppose I don't believe God doesn't exist, so I could probably be called an agnostic instead. Some atheists may consider me a negative atheist, though. Don't you think atheists, or would I call them positive atheists, don't you think they're intolerant? Yes, you'd call them positive atheists, and no, I wouldn't say they're all intolerant. While some may come off as arrogant, they're just unable to understand how you can believe in God, and probably come off as and you probably come off as arrogant to them. Also, because you're unable to understand how they can disbelieve in God, or how they cannot believe in God. People on both sides really need to make an effort to be more tolerant and to discuss their stance on religion without using childish, immature insults. Excellent. Love it. That's the way it should be. So if you're an atheist or agnostic, I hope you don't write me off. I hope you tune into more videos. If you believe in God already, I hope that these videos also open your mind and help you to better carry out that commandment that Jesus gave us all, which is to love one another, okay? And to not be so afraid, not be afraid of others, and then you can have human relationships with people who do not believe in God. And here's my dog. Hey, Vicar, you're a good boy. Vicar got hit by a car on Monday. He was at the vet for a couple days, and now he's recovering. For 2 weeks, hardly any exercise, and he's taking antibiotics. And but thankfully, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful to God, is the way I would put it, that he didn't die. And the vet thinks he's going to be okay. So anyway, there you go. Until next time, in Be An Atheist.